Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So today's video, coming to you talking about the 6.5 Creedmoor and Vitavori N555. Now, I've actually had this powder, completely forgot I had it, to be honest with you. I bought this pound, it's been, I don't know, it's had to have been, this was pre-COVID. Yeah, so I mean, you're talking, over 3 years ago now. Um, let's see. When I bought this pound, picked it up to try it, and when I bought it, I actually had a Savage 110 Tactical in 6.5 Creedmoor, which has still been one of the most accurate off-the-shelf rifles that I've ever purchased or owned or anything like that. So if you're looking for one, I would highly recommend going that route. I mean, I think it's like $750 is what I found it for, 700, something like that. Might have been just slightly less than that, like 650 or something on sale. But that has been one of the most accurate, if not the most accurate, off the shelf. And what was great about that one is the point of impact didn't really shift around no matter what I tried in terms of bullet powder combination. There wasn't much of a point of impact shift, and I was shooting anywhere from 120 grain up to 160 in the Creedmoor, using various bullets, powders, you name it, and point of impact was pretty good. It wasn't too far off, and so I was able to load up several different bullet weights and powder combinations, and I could go and hit the woods with full confidence. If I wanted to just do some bullet testing on some whitetail deer or something, then I could load those up. And I actually did that. I took, let's see, I did a video on the Hornady 129 grain SST, and when I shot that deer, I think I had taken 3 rounds with me, and they were all 3 different bullet weights with different powder charges and all that. So really good shooting rifle. But I picked up this pound just to mess around with way back when, and the only testing I did with it was in using the 139 grain, the Lapua 139 grain OTM, open tip match. So really haven't, and that was it. That was where I left it. I loaded up some 3-shot groups and compared it to H4350, and you can see here the results. We didn't shoot anything right at a 1/2 inch. I mean, again, these are 3-shot groups, but you could tell it was really performing well. And that was cartridge overall length 2.840, cartridge base ogive 2.290. So, but what I want to do is circle back and see how this performs in a hunting application with dedicated hunting bullet, right? So I'll actually be loading these up with the Speer 140 grain gold dot and just kind of checking those out. It's really close in overall weight, but the length is slightly different there. So I just want to see how kind of this similar charge weight range, how it performs in a completely different rifle. It's the same brass, actually, same brass. I've been using this Lapua brass for a while now. This is a small primer, small flash hole, undersized flash hole Lapua brass, and I don't know how many firings I have on this stuff, but I've always set up my Hornady resizing die, full length resizing die, to to barely bump the shoulder 1,000th, 2,000ths at the max. And so these cases, they've stretched very little over the life of all the firings that I've gotten on them. So I haven't trimmed these cases a whole lot. I do trim after every, that's one step in my process that I do. Once I full length resize, then I go through my normal Lyman Case Prep Express, the whole setup that I have there, where I'll I'll trim the brass, chamfer, deburr, run it over a brush, up into the neck, and then clean out the primer pocket. I do that. That's my standard process for brass prep, and so that's what these have always followed, that same regimen. And due to setting up my full-length resizing die the way that I do, they very little stretch. So, and on this, you can set, this is the RCBS Chargemaster Lite, and you can set this thing up to run in auto mode. If I was going to load up, like say for instance, once I get done, I go out of the range, I shoot through this powder weight range, and I find, practically just about everything shoots good enough, right, for my needs. Then I can come back, I can pick a load, and I can just load up, I can load up 50. Well, then I would run it in auto mode, right? But until I'm loading up a large quantity of a single charge weight, I just hit the button every single time, because I'm only loading up 3-shot groups. So and I'm jumping in 2/10, starting at 41. If you go and look at the load data for Vitivori, this is not it's not going to be like your best velocity option when it comes to the Creedmoor. I mean, that's reloader 26, just bottom line. I mean, that's a insanely good velocity powder for the Creedmoor. So if that's the direction you're wanting to go, then good luck finding some of that and just trying to hold out till you can get some. But this is going to be pretty good. It'll give plenty of velocity to get the job done. And then also supposed to be temp stable. So that's another really good thing about this powder. So work up a load, you shouldn't have too crazy of a temperature swing in terms of velocity one way or the other. You are going to see some level of change, but it shouldn't be anything crazy. And it should be pretty reliable in terms of working up a load and then taking it out and hunting with it. So that's really it. I started at 41 grains. We're just going to run all the way up to like 42.8, I think. I tested last time I did this, of course, different rifle, different bullet, all of that, but I tested from 41 up to 43 grains, and I mean, they all shot really well, but again, that was open tip match bullet in the Savage 110 Tactical. So now switching to the Kimber 84M Hunter and a hunting bullet. So we'll just see how it performs. Y'all stay tuned. I'll have some range footage for this as well. So once I get all this stuff loaded up, we'll hit the range. So y'all stay tuned. All right, real quick before we head to the range, right before I started seating these bullets, I just want to kind of give you an up close look. Hopefully I can get it on camera, maybe not. The capacity, kind of where this powder ends up. So this is 41 grains, and the Vitivori load data has it for 140 grain bullets for N555. It typically tops out right around 42 grains, 42, maybe 42.3, something like that. So you can see our case fill right up here. This is 42.8, and you're not really going to be able to have it come through good on the phone, but just visually looking at it, just with the naked eye, I mean, there's a definite difference, right, in the height of the powder column in the case. And so that is one thing that we are working above max. So obviously this is just something that I'm trying to work up. So you have to throw that disclaimer out there, by the way, working above published load data, because there's not Vitivori data for the Speer Gold Dot, right? So we're just kind of using their 140 grain, 139 grain bullets as a reference point and going from there. So, and previous experience. So we'll start with 41. We'll read the pressure signs, see how it goes. May end up having to pull some of these toward the higher end, but yeah, the plan is to seat these at 2.75. I might not be able to. It really depends on up here at the top end what that's going to look like, if it's too compressed. I think we should be good though. I think we'll be able to seat it that deep and go from there. So, all right, let's get these seated and we'll see y'all at the range. Alrighty, so we are here at the range. The range is behind me, backed into my parking spot. I don't know if this gentleman's going to be walking over here to ask me something or not. It looks like he's maybe on a phone call. But the wind is brutal. Look at my little membership number sign on the post right there, flapping in the breeze. It is blowing just straight in your face. Yeah. So, I know I promised range footage. I'll probably try to capture a group or two, maybe 2 groups at the most. It's not going to be much at all. Just because it's going to be terrible. There's going to be so much wind noise on the audio. But all right, yeah, I wanted to actually come in the vehicle to film this part just so you could actually hear me. But yeah, the wind is brutal. It's probably like 43, 44 degrees right now. So all right, y'all check out this range footage. That looks like, looking through the spotting scope, that looks like a pretty decent group, 3-shot group. So that was 41.2 grains. Pause the video here. I'm gonna shoot the 30-06 in between, try to let the barrel cool down, and then I'll show another group, and then we'll go over the results at the house. Don't forget, stop in, get your range fuel, New Hope Nutrition. My signature drink, the Alabama Reloader. Still a really good group. Some vertical though, didn't really. There's basically 3 shots, just almost in a straight line vertical. Yeah, so that's 41.4, I believe. Yeah. So still got 7 more groups to shoot and alternate between that and 30-06. 30-06 has got something going on. Well, that'll be a separate video. I'll have to show you guys the results. It's not been pretty. So, all right, that's it for the range footage. It's too windy, and I guess they've taken a break so far. But man, it sounded like World War III over on the steel plate area, where you can go and kind of rent that area out for. I think you pay by the hour over there, and basically just unleash on the steel targets, because that's what they were doing. So, all right, that's it. We'll see y'all back at the house to go over the results. All right, so we are back, and we're gonna go over the results from the range session, testing out Vihtavuori N555 and the Speer Gold Dot, 140 grain Speer Gold Dot in the Kimber 84M Hunter. The Vihtavuori N555 was a really good powder when I paired it up with, or really good choice when I paired it up with the Lapua 139 grain OTM bullet, but that was completely different setup as well in terms of rifle and all that. I'll go over that earlier in the video with the Savage 110 Tactical, and it shot really, really well. And again, just kind of found this powder. I was digging through my powder stash and forgot I even had it. So wanted to go back. I don't have a ton of it, so I just wanted to see what some 3-shot groups would look like. And then from there, maybe just pick a load and load up the, whatever I have left of that powder. Just go ahead and load it up. Probably only be maybe 30 rounds or so. And then just call it done, and that'll be a decent hunting load that we can use coming up in the fall or coming up in the winter. So this is, I didn't label the target, and I know some people like to see it labeled, but it just kind of is what it is. We started at 41 grains and went up in 0.2 of a grain each time. So 41, 41.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 42 grains, 42.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. This looks like a 2-shot group, but that's actually 3 shots. It's 2 shots basically went into the same hole. Slightly larger than a standard, than a normal bullet hole. And so I put 2 in the same there, and then the third one. And so that, just in case you're wondering, you're like, where's the third bullet hole at? Well, it's in there. But so that's our target. Just kind of taking the bird's eye view, I guess, or sort of the 50,000 foot view. It seemed like, we had these 2 groups that were, pretty decent. And then it seemed like the point of impact wanted to start to try to transition downward, right? I know we started off that way. Not sure if that was just cold barrel, cold shooter, who knows what. But from that point, right, then we sort of have these 2 groups that are pretty much same point of impact. And then from there, it started to drop down, had a couple up here, third one down here, but then you see the further we go, right, it drops down on these next 2 groups. And then same kind of deal, it picked right back up just a little bit, down and to the right. And then, yeah, so not going to read too much into it. Again, this is not some big, long, drawn-out load development process, where we're chasing, every little thousandth here or there that we can gain in terms of accuracy. That's not the point of this, because I just don't have enough of that powder, right? Or, to be honest with you, enough patience either to even go down this rabbit hole. Nor do I care, right? The desire is simply not there to sort of do a massive deep dive on this. This is simply, I've got maybe 30 or so bullets left. That's probably all the powder that I have in terms of this particular powder. So really, I just wanted to see, in this charge weight range, 41, up to 42.8, what would 3-shot groups look like? Now, if it was throwing them, 2-inch groups and all that, then yeah, I would definitely be like, you know what, I'm not even gonna fool with this. I just don't have enough powder or components in either case to bullets or powder to really do a deep dive into this. But I just wanted to see how it would group with some 3-shot groups. That'll tell me all I need to know. And so, one of the areas that I kind of was really interested in was sort of this range here, right? This is where we transition. Like I said, it's 41.2, 4, 6, 8. So this is where we transition over to 42 grains. So 42, 42.2, and 42.4. So that 42 up to 42.4, that range just kind of caught my eye, and as I was out there shooting too. And so you have to keep in mind, I did my best to take the same amount of rest in between each group and each shot and all that. I mean, I did have plenty of time on the range to get this done. Trying to shoot 30 rounds in a pencil thin barrel, hunting rifle, it takes a lot of time, right? Barrel heat, it'll get on you pretty quick. So with that Kimber, normally it's a couple of shots and the barrel's already pretty warm. So I try to wait, the same amount of time in between each shot. And then in between each group, I try to take my time. Typically, I'll take multiple rifles to the range with me, so that way I'm swapping back and forth. Because every rifle that I own, except for the Savage Hog Hunter, they all have fairly thin barrels. So it takes a little while to actually do long range trips like this. If I'm trying to shoot a whole lot, a bunch of groups in one particular cartridge, it can take a while. So, but I feel like this pretty much told me everything I needed to know about how this bullet powder combination was going to work in the Kimber. And all of this is minute of deer. It's perfectly within the realm of acceptability, right? And what I'm trying to accomplish and what I'm trying to do. I mean, you pick the worst group on here and I'll go load up 30 of them and I'll go kill 30 deer, right? It's just the distance that I shoot, 1.5 inch, even 2-inch groups. I'm not going to see the detriment in terms of not being able to hit the target at the distances that I shoot, right? It's not going to happen. So with that being said, this range is pretty promising somewhat, in my opinion, just from the bird's eye view. So I'm going to just load up 42.2. Like I said, probably anywhere from 20 to 30 rounds. I'll load that up, and then I'll use some of those to actually gather some velocity data. And again, to be honest, we really don't care. Standard deviation is double digits. That's within reason, right? I mean, once you get up fairly high standard deviation, but then it could potentially be an issue. But again, the distances that I shoot, you're only going to see that as an issue when you start to really stretch it out and shoot longer ranges. When you have massive differences in your velocity, you'll definitely see it on target, right? That'll cause an issue and cause you to miss. But within a couple hundred yards, which is the distances I'll be shooting, right, at whitetail deer, this is going to get the job done. Any of these loads would. But so I think 42.2, we're just going to call it done with that, because again, I don't have a bunch. I've only got a few left in this particular box, and then I'm out and don't have a whole lot of powder left with N555. So that's it. That's where we're going to leave it. Call it done. I'm in here working on some 270 Winchester stuff, eating some summer sausage. This is from the buck that my wife killed this season. Go watch that video. It's up on the channel. Pretty awesome video. Got footage through the scope, so that was pretty cool. But I did not make this, so don't even ask. This came from Weaver's Meat Processing in Hartsville, Alabama. I believe I did a video also kind of showing that buck, us dropping it off at Weaver's. I've got a 24-hour cooler, so that way if you kill something, you get there late at night, then you're able to drop it off. And so that's what I showed in the video. But they have, I'll put this up against anybody's summer sausage. This is absolutely the best. Highly recommend it. If you guys have never tried Weaver's before, 2 thumbs up. I would give them 2 thumbs up, but my other hand's holding the phone. So this is just their standard with cheddar. They also, I think they do just a regular with no cheese, and then they do a jalapeno cheddar version. Jalapeno cheddar version is probably my favorite, but my wife didn't really want the jalapenos in there. She's not a big fan of spicy stuff. So she's like, hey, if you get this done, just get it in cheddar, right? So that's what I did. And this stuff is so good. So good. But it's really good on saltines. Right, just throw it on a cracker, but I'm out of saltines at the moment. So, all right. Well, that's where we're going to leave it. So don't forget, you guys need anything reloading related, gun related, pretty much anything firearms related, go see Matt and his guys down at Mr. Big Guns in Huntsville. Go check out those guys. Tell them I said hello. Tell them I sent you. And that's it. That's where we're going to leave it. So y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.